On the outside, he was a total model citizen, a successful businessman, a guy involved in politics, and even, believe it or not, a beloved children's party clown. But in secret, John Wayne Gacy was one of the most twisted and prolific serial killers in American history. This is the story of his absolutely terrifying double life.
And this, right here, is the core of the whole terrifying story. To his community, he was Pogo the Clown, a friendly, totally harmless guy entertaining kids. But behind that painted-on smile was the killer clown, a predator whose reality was so dark, it's almost impossible to even wrap your head around.
So, how in the world did he pull it off? In this explainer, we're going to look at his public persona, uncover the predatory methods he was hiding, follow the investigation that finally brought him down, and explore the chilling legacy he left behind.
Okay, let's start with the central mystery of it all. Gacy's terrifying two-faced existence.
You see, this isn't just a story about murder. It's really about deception on a scale that is just unimaginable. The real question is, how could one single person project this image of kindness and civic duty while secretly committing some of the most brutal crimes you can even think of? To understand the monster, we have to first look at the mask. And Gacy didn't just hide. He carefully, meticulously built this public image as a pillar of his community.
I mean, his cover was just so complete. He ran a successful contracting business, which gave him a look of legitimacy. He got involved in local politics, putting himself right in the public eye. He was married, creating this illusion of a stable family man. And most disturbingly, he created Pogo the Clown to get close to kids at charity events.
You know, this relentless drive to be seen as respectable might have come from his own troubled childhood with an abusive father. Gacy seemed absolutely obsessed with projecting an image of success and being in control. This public face he showed everyone, it wasn't just a mask, it was a fortress.
But behind the walls of that fortress, a predator was hard at work. So now, let's peel back that respectable mask and take a look at the horrifying reality.
This is where it gets really insidious. Gacy weaponized his public persona. His construction business wasn't just a business, it was his personal hunting ground. He'd offer jobs to teenage boys and young men, using his status as a successful contractor to get them to trust him. And that trust, that was the key. It allowed him to lure his victims into a trap before the violence ever even began.
And this just shows you how calculated his evil was. He deliberately targeted vulnerable young men, like runaways or kids who were desperate for work, people who were less likely to be missed right away, who would be susceptible to the promise of a job from a friendly, respectable employer.
For years, this whole system, it worked. But in December of 1978, the fortress that Gacy had built around himself finally started to crumble.
The beginning of the end was the disappearance of just one teenager. When police discovered the victim was last seen with Gacy, the investigation kicked into high gear. They got a search warrant for his home, and what they found beneath the floorboards, well, it would go on to shock the entire world.
33. That is the number of young men and boys that John Wayne Gacy was convicted of murdering. Just let that number sink in for a second. 33.
And the location of the bodies, that was maybe the most chilling detail of all. Most of them were found in the crawl space of his home. Just think about that. While Gacy was hosting parties, chatting with neighbors, and living his respectable suburban life, the evidence of his horrific crimes was literally right under his feet. With a discovery like that, a trial was inevitable. But Gacy's performance in court was just as manipulative as his life had been. Let's take a look at the aftermath. So Gacy's defense? They argued he was legally insane, claiming that some other personality had actually committed the murders. It was a final attempt to keep up the illusion that the real John Gacy, the community leader, was innocent. The jury, however, did not buy it for a second.
Throughout the trial, Gacy stayed eerily calm, which was just a shocking contrast to the gruesome evidence being presented. In 1980, he was found guilty and sentenced to death. After spending 14 years on death row, a time where he bizarrely took up painting, he was finally executed in 1994.
So why does this case still haunt us so much? Because it completely shatters our fundamental sense of security. Gacy proved that the most terrifying monsters don't always lurk in the shadows. Sometimes they're the ones shaking your hand at a neighborhood party.
And all of this leaves us with a deeply, deeply unsettling question.
Gacy's case forces us to confront the fact that we can never truly know what's going on behind closed doors. It serves as a permanent, chilling reminder that the capacity for pure evil can be hidden behind the most ordinary and even friendly of smiles.